This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
My name is Desiree, and I'm a first-generation college student.
I'm Zach. I'm undecided in my major, and I'm a catcher.
This message was sent to you.
$500 down the toilet along with your performance. You are worthless.
Get the hell off the field before you lose me any more money, you sorry
This is wrong.
I'm more than a bet.
Stop harassing college athletes over a bet. Learn more at morethanabet.org.
Did you know using your browser in incognito mode doesn't actually protect your privacy? Take back your privacy with IPVanish VPN. Just one tap and all your data, passwords, communications, browsing history, and more will be instantly protected. IPVanish makes you virtually invisible online. Use IPVanish on all your devices, anytime you go online at home and especially on public Wi-Fi. Get IPVanish now for 70% off a yearly plan with this exclusive offer at ipvanish.com/audio.
What are we going to do about the pickleball problem wreaking havoc across communities all over the country and now even hitting closer to home in Maple Grove, Minnesota? Welcome back. Second hour of the Cake Show edition of Bumper to Bumper. Dan is out. Guardsy is in. Brett Blakemore here as well. We've got Lavelli Neal III at 5:30 today, but there's perhaps no faster growing sport right now, certainly in the last handful of years, than pickleball, right, Brett Blakemore?
Well, you're a part of it.
Am I a part of it?
Well, you said it's all your old tennis friends. That's who's responsible for this.
You're right.
So
you're right.
You're partly to blame.
I do not yet pickle, as they say. I do not yet pickle. I could. If every once in a while, if we're on vacation or something and it's available, like I'll go hit it around a little bit. But you're right. Most people in my past life as a tennis player, when I see them around town, within 3 minutes, that's like their small talk. It's like, can you believe how warm it's been lately? Or, gosh, are we ever going to get a nice day this summer? Hey, do you pickle yet? You doing any pickle? Nope. Not doing pickle. Are you against pickle? No. I just don't really have time for it. I wish I had time to go play in your Saturday morning men's open, mixer at 7:30 in the morning up at the park. I don't have time to do it. I wish I did. Sounds like it's an awesome time. But it's growing everywhere, right? Like places like, my guys at Lifetime Fitness are building a pickleball-only center in Chanhassen. That's how big it is. There's clubs. Friend of mine, John Laser, Chanhassen's own, former voice of the Ricori Spartans and the St. Cloud River Bats. He owns a pickleball place in, I think, Richmond, Virginia. Like, it's blowing up. It's massive. But with big growth comes big problems. And I've seen other stories about this around the country. I think HBO Real Sports did a story about this. And I'm curious if we've ever come to a safe place between all the different parties. And I want some text on it. Bradshaw and Brian, KFAN text line is 64686. You can also hit the talk back. Use the iHeartRadio app, the microphone icon. You've got 30 seconds to talk about it. I'll just read the Channel 4 story here. Pickleball problems. Maple Grove, Minnesota. Maple Grove are leading to conflict off the court. A ban on the sport at Fish Lake Woods Park is uniting neighbors who want it back. There is a pickleball ban right now at Fish Lake Woods Park. Now, this story was from about a month ago, so I don't know. Maybe there's been some resolution here, but it's still a germane bit. Larry Solberg is quoted. He says, "You're encouraging people to get out and exercise, yet you're banning them from doing that. Doesn't make much sense. Signs at the park say pickleball is prohibited on the tennis courts due to noise disturbances. Neighbors say the courts are very popular." John Messerly, hoping to reinstate pickleball at the park through a petition, which has received hundreds of signatures, says there are so many people who want to use these courts. They say it's ridiculous. Our taxes pay for this. The city says the ban is a result of noise complaints from one nearby neighbor. That family asked to remain anonymous because, of course, they've received threats. We're not saying they can't play, they said. There's so many places to play around the city. Chuck Stifter, Maple Grove's Parks and Recreation Director, says the city has about 3 dozen pickleball courts available to play on. Messerly would like to see more incremental solutions to the noise issue than a ban. Okay, maybe we talk about time limitations. Can we talk about using different paddles so they aren't quite as loud? None of that dialogue has happened. Stifter says the ban was meant to protect those that live closest to the park. He says the park board is strongly considering requiring pickleball courts to be at least 200 feet from residents. Some responses to the growing nationwide problem of pickleball noise include installing sound barriers, regulating hours of play, and using quieter equipment. Now, do you pickle at all?
I have once pickled, maybe once or twice.
You don't call yourself a pickler, though.
I would not, no.
So what's interesting about this, well, at least the way I feel about it is, on the surface, it sounds like, remember that basketball court story or that basketball hoop story from St. Louis Park? What were you going to bring up about it? Expound on it a little bit.
Well, I was just going to say, what's next? We're going to ban kids from playing basketball in their own driveways? That's all I was going to say.
And it's a good spot to think of because I don't think these two stories are anywhere close to the same, because I'm kind of on the side of neighbor when it comes to the pickleball noise. If you watch these stories, and the one on Real Sports laid it out, I think it was in Cape Cod, Massachusetts, somewhere in Cape Cod, just a quiet little coastal city. And this couple of the neighbors say, we used to live in a quiet neighborhood, and now every single day from sun up to sundown, all we hear is the of the pickleball. It's just...
I was wondering if it was the rackets or if Serena Williams was moaning basically across the street.
There's all of it.
Quiet that down.
There's all of it. So the noise of the pickleball off the racket makes a sound. The bouncing makes a sound. And because pickleball, part of its popularity is because it's a very social game. You can just pull up. It's easy to learn. It's easy to pick up. It's easy to get better. And you just play it, and you can mix and match with whoever. Like, it's very easy to find a game, as opposed to if you're a really good tennis player, if you're a really good golfer, like, you want to play with people that are of your level, right? Even if a golfer, you don't like waiting around for a chop like me going, rough to rough over the fairway. Pickleball is a very social game, so it's very loud. People are very excitable, and people get into it. They make just more general noise than if you were just going out there playing tennis against somebody. So I'm on the side, believe it or not, of the cranky neighbor in this case. The basketball hoop thing was preposterous the entire way. Mm-hmm. When these kids are playing basketball in their own driveway, if you don't want to live in a neighborhood, don't live in a neighborhood. That was my point there. Because that's what that seemed like. With this one, though, it really seemed like if you go watch at Lifetime or one of your pickleball clubs, or a lot of places have taken tennis courts and made them pickleball courts. There's some on 62 in Edina, kind of by the hospital there, that are all pickleball courts now. And if you drive by there, there's always a line of cars there. The courts are always packed. That's park's a little bit separate from anything. There's no houses or anything there. But I can see how it would be really, really annoying to have pickleball 50 feet from your house for the entire day. As much as you want people to get outside and be active and have fun, I think I'm on homeowner's side in this one. Find somewhere else to pickle.
Texter 763 guy says, is it louder than tennis? I really don't know.
It is. It is because of how, yes.
Because it's wooden?
Whatever the paddle is made of, whatever the material is, there's just a very distinct thwack sound over and over and over again. And then the ball bouncing on the court makes a much louder sound. And it definitely is louder than tennis. And when you factor in two, usually you've got 4 people playing. Sometimes there's 2, but a lot of times it's doubles. It's more of a mixer situation, at least from what I've gathered. While I've been playing tennis next to pickleball people. It's crazy. And we're not the only place that has seen this. This has become an issue all over the country as pickleball has taken over, which I think is a good thing. I think it's a great sport for people. People clearly have fun playing. It is a gateway to, there's other racket sports like paddle and obviously tennis that people then start to play. Clubs have basically been able to offer all of them now all over the country. So it's a good thing, but there's been some weird unintended consequences, and neighborhood strife has been one of them in just the recreational sense.
I guess this may be a fence-sitting answer, but I would want to be in the house and to hear it. Because I don't know to the extent, I'm aware it's loud, and it probably does that, especially if you lob one up and you're going to smash it down. I'm sure that is loud. I would love to be in that house 100 feet away.
Yeah.
And to hear just how much of an annoyance it is, especially someone with me where I wear headphones most of the day anyways, whether it's here or at home.
Do you really?
Well, yeah, because I'm usually playing video games from at home or watching something on TV. So,
what a life.
I know, it's great.
What a life.
Probably wouldn't affect me anyways. So, especially living in an apartment, there's enough loud noises there, regardless of pickleball. So, I don't know. I guess I'd want to hear the level of annoyance because on the surface, without hearing it, I would side with the pickleballers. Like, we're in a park.
I understand.
Get over it.
I don't think I have a popular opinion on this one. I think I'm in the minority on this one.
You've already been called a Karen several times on the.
I believe that because on the surface it feels like a Karen thing, and I don't know this specifically. This story, I haven't been out to this park. I don't know where these people live that are complaining about it, but I just know I've seen other stories done about it where the people that were making the arguments, they would be sitting in their house, and it was just nothing but pickleball. They'd be in their living room, and you could just hear back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and that wasn't always the case because they added courts or whatever it was. So I do think there should be room for pickle. I love pickle. That'll be on the Power Trip Morning Show. But I do think I guess the way I would phrase it is if you're complaining about it because it's too loud by your house, I don't automatically think that you are a Karen. Bradshaw and Brian KFAN text line is 64686. When we come back, we'll take some text, maybe some talkbacks on this. Also want to get into an NBA draft controversy and really a new trend, it looks like. Was anybody happy that they got drafted by the team that they got drafted by? There was a bunch of just mixed reactions the other night. But one player in particular, we'll find out if he even reports for Summer League on Monday. Want to try to give some cash away?
I do. The fan and BigDeck.com want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks for the National Cash Contest. Head to KFAN.com. The keyword for this hour is bills. The keyword bills. KFAN.com. Keyword.
My name is Desiree, and I'm a first-generation college student.
I'm Zach. I'm undecided in my major, and I'm a catcher.
This message was sent to you.
$500 down the toilet along with your performance. You are worthless.
Get the hell off the field before you lose me any more money, you sorry
This is wrong.
I'm more than a bet.
Stop harassing college athletes over a bet. Learn more at morethanabet.org.
Bills. Head over our contest page for your chance at a shot of early screening passes for the new DC Studios film Superman in theaters July 11th. Enter at KFAN.com, keyword contest. That's KFAN.com, keyword contest.
A lot of text to the Bradshaw and Brian KFAN text line 64686. The pickle community is being heard from. The Karen community is being heard from. Guardsy in for Barreiro today. Brett Blakemore here as well. Lavelle Neal III joins about an hour from now. Brett will have top 5 at 5 as well. The topic at hand, if you're just joining us, a pickleball ban at a park in Maple Grove. Which park did I say? I just pulled it up because I wanted to learn more about the park, Fish Lake Woods Park in Maple Grove. And there was one neighbor that is complaining about the frequent pickleball noises coming from that park. So they banned it. I don't know if the ban has been rescinded. I don't know if people are pickling right now at Fish Lake Woods Park, but I'm on the homeowner's side, and it's one specific reason, because a lot of the texts that are coming in here, you move into a park, this is from Mark, you move into a park and then complain there's noise coming from the park. Really? My husband and I used to live by that park. There's always noise from the people enjoying every part of it. There's also a path that connects to Fish Lake that goes through the townhome complex that many people use. Even with no pickleball, there will always be noise. And here's the difference, though. And the 202 text, I think, hits it on the head. I think it might have actually been the show where I first heard it, but the pitch of the sound of the pickleball hitting the racket is especially high frequency. So it's not just the literal noise and loudness, but the more scientific analysis of the sound itself that makes it so annoying, plus the frequency of which it's being hit, like you've already mentioned. That's the difference. It's not about being noisy at the park. It's not about kids running around. It's not about just the general loudness of a park, where obviously if you live next to a park, you're going to have to deal with some noise from time to time, right? I think we can all agree with that. It's like with the St. Louis Park basketball thing. If you live in a neighborhood, guess what? There's going to be neighbors. Mm-hmm. Just like in any neighborhood, there's stuff. Because we've gotten other texts, people saying, I hate when people mow their lawn at 9 o'clock at night or 10 o'clock at night. Yeah, that's annoying. Or when there's construction work that starts at 7:30 in the morning, or someone's mowing their lawn at 7:30 in the morning. All of that stuff's annoying, but I put that into more isolated incidents. And if you want to live in a neighborhood, you're going to have to deal with things that happen in a neighborhood from time to time. I think pickleball is so specific when it comes to the noise, the level, the frequency, that I understand why some people don't want it as often or as early or as late. I do think there's a difference from the general park noise, that there is a distinction where it would be a different level of annoying, where it's just nonstop. And it doesn't seem like I'm in the majority there, but that's okay. I can live in the minority every once in a while on an opinion. I understand why people think, why it does get annoying for people, especially because it's such a new phenomenon. 10 years ago, nobody was worried about the noises coming from a pickleball court. You didn't move in and say, oh, well, like it's not something you have to disclose on your home when you're buying a house. Like, hey, by the way, there's a train back here. It comes by twice a day. No, there's pickleball courts, and they're usually full from 8 to 8.
Here, I want to get your thoughts on this angle, because there's a couple texts that have a similar thought on it. Here's one. I don't pickle, but any complaint before 10 p.m. is way out of line. Here's another one. People complaining about the noise of pickleball should take a long walk off a short pier.
I saw that one.
It is a part of being outside, is hearing noises, whether it's kids hitting balls, pickleball, wherever it might be. If it's happening at 6 in the morning or 11 at night, we have a different discussion. But if it's a part of the day, basically it's no big deal. So your thoughts, because that's, in an apartment, there's quiet hours, where once 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. hits. So you can really do, if I so wanted to, I could, in the middle of the day at noon, I wouldn't because I'm not a jerk, but I could turn on my guitar amp and just go to town if I wanted to, but I don't. I don't think it's anything close to this. There's a specific time to where that's what that activity's for. Do you buy into if it's not past 10 p.m. argument?
Again, it depends. It depends. And we're going to have John Laser call in. I'm going to give him the hotline here. His brother Ben gave him the heads up. Now John's going to call.
You've alerted the whole community.
I've alerted the pickleball community, and I probably should have had him on to begin with. Because he knows what he's doing here. Let me read a couple of more texts here while we wait for John Laser to call the hotline. In my neighborhood in Medina, they converted a seldom-used tennis court to a pickleball court, went from no noise to constant sounds from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. City eventually put hours on the play, like you just said there. Where did I go? Now it just scrolled. We're getting too many pickleball texts. But two families that backed up moved because of it. Wasn't there when they bought, so I agree with your position in this case. Another text. The people say you move to a park, then complain about the sounds are way off. Pickleball is new. Most of these people moved there before pickleball came to town. So it's not as easy as just being a Karen. That's why I thought it was worth bringing up. It's not as easy as just saying you need to relax a little bit. I think my buddy John's calling the hotline now, so we'll throw him on here. Keep the text coming. Bradshaw and Brian, KFAN text line 64686. Pickleball is an accident waiting to happen. I can tell you that my neighbor, who's an ER nurse, is very grateful that the pickleball craze has happened, because they do see a lot of injuries. Not grateful. That's the wrong way to put it. She's noticed the uptick in pickleball-related injuries. Is that my guy, John Laser?
I hope so.
Yeah, let's find out. Well, I only texted one person in the hotline. Fan alum John Laser, I hope, checks in on the Connecticut Water Systems hotline. Lays, is it you?
I always knew, my friend, that 20 years later we would be chatting pickleball while I was standing on a pickleball court in Hilton Head, South Carolina.
Hilton Head, South Carolina. Yeah, we'll get to when we were driving to Ricori Spartans games in 2005, stopping at the Holiday to get Mountain Dews and cigarettes. We always knew this was where it was going to end for both of us. All right. I assume your brother Ben gave you the heads up on this topic. I appreciate him listening. So what I'm talking about here, Lays, specifically, and I'm sure you've had to deal with this as an owner of a pickleball facility, maybe not you so much, but I'm sure you've heard of it, that pickleballers like you are taking over the country, and you're taking over parks and once dormant tennis courts that, your dad and me would have played on growing up are now becoming pickleball courts. And the noise is very different. You people are crazy. You're very loud. The ball makes a weird sound, and the neighbors are fed up with it, and they don't love it. So how much have you had to deal with this in the pickleball community, the respecting of the neighborhood portion of it? Has this come up a lot?
Yeah, to be honest with you, man, it does come up a lot, and I totally understand it. In all sincerity, we're sitting here at this quasi-resort in Hilton Head, and they built a pickleball facility right in the middle of all the condos and cabins and whatever, and it's loud. And I understand people's aggravation with that, to be honest. We don't deal with it, obviously, because we build indoor facilities that kind of take care of that problem and bring it inside and bring everything inside, including the rowdiness, which sometimes happens at night, which is great because it's skewing younger. But totally, if you built one of those right next to my house, I'd be pissed off too.
That's what, because on the surface, it sounds like, grumpy neighbor, get a life.
No, man, it's like that annoying thing that just keeps thumping against your door,
Yes.
I totally get it.
So what's your advice to fellow pickleballers that are trying to grow the game and expand the game, or, play it in a park? Like, how much does it come up? Or do you might just say, hey, just come to our place, get a membership at our place. That would make sense. But what's the best message to those so you can coexist in the more community-based pickleball areas?
Well, there are a number of things in R&D right now in terms of the quieting of the ball and the quieting of the paddles. And of course, all the douchier high-level players like myself don't like those. And, we can't hear it. We need the pop. We need the purity.
Right.
But they are working towards that. I guess when it comes to real estate developers more than anything, it's kind of being cognizant, right? Like, I know that my mom has been looking at a couple of communities to potentially downsize there on the western side of Minneapolis, and they all advertise pickleball courts. And it's like, okay, well, how close is my unit going to be to said pickleball court? So, I think that you pay by the square foot. We get that, indoor or outdoor, whatever you're developing. But to be mindful of who might have their balcony right next to it. But at the same time, if you're moving to some place where there's already pickleball, or there is, and that's kind of on you, if they build it next to you,
right?
Like, again, I feel for you. I don't know what to tell you legally and whatever else. I know there's a bunch of class action stuff throughout the course of the country. But I will say it's not going anywhere anytime soon. As we continue to wait for a plateau in the industry, it just is not on the horizon.
So, explain how you got into pickleball. For those that don't know, my buddy John, we joke, he was the voice of the Rocori Spartans 50 years ago, and then worked in every minor league baseball town, it seemed, had some college jobs, Virginia Tech, the whole bit. We used to do games way back in the Eric Decker era of Rocori Spartans football, basketball, and baseball. That's how far this goes back. And now you don't do play-by-play as much anymore, and you're an owner of a pickleball facility. So how did you get into this, and why was this the move for you?
Well, it's kind of one of those guards that, being our friend, my wife and I, won't tell God your plans and listen to him laugh type of deals. We were at Virginia Tech, and pandemic happened, and it coincided with a staff change in our football department, which was most of our community. And I know you know that well from your relationship with Coach Fleck and U of M and whatever the case may be. And we were kind of just sitting there one day in Blacksburg, going, we don't really remember exactly why we got into it anymore. The fun of Rocori, of calling games, of all of that. It wasn't that. And we decided, we're going to leave, Virginia Tech, and we went back to Richmond, where I was, like I said, the last of my many, and you were correct, many minor league stops, where we had community. And we started a nonprofit in the mental health space, fundraising, for mental health initiatives in public schools. And really, my wife's background and mine is both athletic promotion and whatever, and we wanted to fundraise through events. And I had recently basically been retired because I was being paid without working, and had been playing pickleball at the park every day. So we kind of fell butt backwards into it in terms of hosting our first pickleball events. And one thing really led to another. And here we are, about to potentially franchise. Performance pickleball, actually.
Oh, performance pickleball. And so where is that? Tell me exactly. I thought it was Richmond. I thought I had that right. Is that where you guys are? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, our flagship's in Richmond. We built a second location in Roanoke, Virginia. We're about to build a third, and like I said, we're about to enter the franchise waters.
And here's the beautiful thing for you. I just got this text. Any idiot can play pickleball. It takes no skill, no athleticism. It's loud, it's annoying. You look ridiculous playing, so it's the perfect sport for America. You take that, right? I mean, the douchier players like you called yourself, you guys all look good, but the rest of us have a chance, and it's still fun. That's the beauty of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're on vacation, obviously, right now, like I said, at Hilton Head. But back at our facility, we have a group called Pickleball and Pints, which is average age 60, I would say, 55 to 60. There's about 45 of them. They're almost parrot heads that come in. Some of them are decent at pickleball. They play from 4 to 6, and then they crush the bar from 6 to 8, and they have a great time and, community. And I'm not sure they really care too much about who won and whatever else. But I will add to that. Yes, that's true. Anyone can play it, but it is, like tennis, a great game of technique and skill when you get into it, to those higher levels.
Great to hear your voice. Thanks for saving us here.
Yeah. What are you doing? You filling in? Where's Dan?
I don't know. You sound like the Bradshaw and Bryan KFAN text line. Where's Dan? Where's Dan? Dan will be back. Yeah, I'm in this week. It's the summer. You know how things roll. It's the fan farm system. It's the fan farm system to go back to 2005.
Tell him I expect him at my next going away party.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for the pickleball intel. We'll text offline. Say hi to your wife and be good, man. Have a good vacation.
Thanks, brother.
That is John Laser, my old friend who used to sit in that chair many, 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 many years ago, like we all did when we were hip now with it and wild back in the day, giving us some pickleball intel. And he nailed it. I totally understand why people are mad about it because it's loud. It is feisty. It is an annoying sound. And if you moved into the house before the pickleball courts were built, I can see why you would be frustrated that they are now there.
We got a text in from 218 guy who says, play the sound of pickleball in the background of your show for the next week. Not one listener will want it to continue. And I thought that's a brilliant idea. And so I Googled it.
What's it sound like?
There's a video on YouTube called Soothing Sounds of Pickleball.
Yep. Let's hear it. Yeah. So you're just on your back deck. You moved into the house 15 years ago. There were no pickleball courts. What? Now you're trying to, maybe have a beer, decompress.
You say dinner's ready?
4:35 on a Friday afternoon. And this is going on. And now there's an epic point. Everybody's going to be screaming. Everybody's going to be yelling. It's a very loud game. So you can call the homeowner Karen if you want. But is this what you... There you go.
There it was. Right before I turned it off.
So there you go. That is what pickleball sounds like. All right. Enough pickleball talk on a Friday. When we come back, I do want to get into the Ace Bailey meat grinder, a player who apparently did not want to go to the Utah Jazz and might not go to the Utah Jazz. And at some point, we got to get a handle on these draft day reactions and these players at some point. I'm all for player empowerment. We've been through the player empowerment era here in the National Basketball Association, but at some point, you got to go to work, and we'll see what happens with Ace Bailey. But we'll outline that story and talk a little more.
My name is Desiree, and I'm a first-generation college student.
I'm Zach. I'm undecided in my major, and I'm a catcher.
This message was sent to you.
$500 down the toilet along with your performance. You are worthless.
Get the hell off the field before you lose me any more money you saw in
This is wrong.
I'm more than a bet.
Stop harassing college athletes over a bet. Learn more at morethanabet.org.
NBA draft.
Yeah.
Get ready for a Friday night showdown. Your Minnesota Lynx take on the Atlanta Dream tonight. Tip off at 6:30 and catch every play, every bucket, every big moment right here on the Fan, or as always on the Lynx station on the free iHeartRadio app.
Sounds like Nafisa Collier has been upgraded to probable to play tonight as well. She'd been questionable the last couple of games and missed the last couple of games with the back injury. Probable, very good for one of the leading candidates for the MVP. And as we talk about on Enough Said tonight, Pierre Nugent filling in for Dan, buddy from Fox 9 Sports. The big night coming up on Tuesday here in the Twin Cities at Target Center, the finals of the Commissioner's Cup in the WNBA. The Lynx hosting the Indiana Fever right here on the Fan, I assume. And it could be an absolutely epic night, or it could be a complete buzzkill if Nafisa Collier doesn't play and if Caitlin Clark doesn't play. She missed the game last night. She's dealing, I think, with a groin injury. More, she's listed as kind of day-to-day, according to her coach from the Fever, Stephanie White. So it's good to see that Collier is probable to be back in the lineup tonight. Even if she doesn't play tonight, the fact that her designation has changed is good for the short term and the long term. And obviously, the Commissioner Cup game, in the grand scheme of things, is not all that important, right? It's important because they're playing it. It's a big, high-profile game. But when you want to think about the actual playoffs and the actual championship, you want Nafisa Collier healthy for the long run. You don't want to rush her back just for Tuesday. But it is good to know that she's at least probable tonight, and hopefully that means in the lineup on Tuesday, because Tuesday could be epic. The ticket prices are crazy right now. I hopped on. We're going to be out of town, I think, but I hopped on I was curious to see what the sales were going to be like, because it is the finals and it is the Fever, and we all know what that means. Especially in Minnesota. Like, Caitlin Clark sells out arenas everywhere, but when you border a state where she is from and basically is on the Mount Rushmore of all-time athletes, it's like her, Niall Kinnick, and take your pick for the other two.
Kurt Warner, maybe?
Maybe. So you've got that. Like, there's a lot of people coming up I-35 this weekend to come watch that game on Tuesday. But if she doesn't play and Collier doesn't play, that's a buzzkill for the league, because everybody's going to be watching that game on Tuesday night. And so hopefully both of them can be healthy, because it's such a great setup to have the Lynx championship pedigree, championship favorite, one of the couple of teams favored to win the WNBA championship this year. We all know about Game 5. And then the face of the league, the most popular player in the league, on a team that's ascending, going the right way. No surprise, she's been playing pretty well until the last couple of games with this injury. It's as good a situation that a league can hope for, in my opinion. So hopefully everybody stays healthy. Hopefully everybody gets healthy, and hopefully everybody's ready to go there on Tuesday night, because it could be an absolutely epic game. All right, back to the NBA draft quickly. We do have some more text to get to about the pickleball controversy. And I feel like we did, even with my buddy John Laser, pickleball purist and pickleball entrepreneur. He said straight up, I get it. I get why neighbors would be mad, because this game is loud. It is an annoying game. And we try to do our best to either put courts where you're not going to bother a bunch of people, or, like they do, have indoor courts. And everybody knows if you go to a pickleball facility, you're not going to complain that it's too loud. You kind of know the deal. But got some more texts I want to get to there. But I do want to talk about the curious case of Ace Bailey, who was selected on Wednesday night by the Utah Jazz with the number 5 pick. This story is from a little bit earlier today. I don't know if there's been an update to it, but it's been kind of a story for the last couple of days. And this is a New Jersey Advanced Media piece. Adam Zagoria is writing it, and there's a lot of different aggregations from Brian Windhorst and some other national NBA reporters. But it's New Jersey Media because he went to Rutgers, and it said, has not reported to his team as of Friday morning. So as of this morning, Bailey was chosen by the Jazz with the number 5 pick in Wednesday's draft, though it was not, quote, his preferred destination. Entering the draft, Bailey's camp made it clear that he preferred the New Orleans Pelicans, Brooklyn Nets, or Washington Wizards. Here's Wendy on SportsCenter. The Jazz drafted him with the number 5 pick after he declined to work out for them, and the Jazz were very excited to welcome him to Utah over the weekend, and that has not happened yet. So he did not go there. Their other first-round pick, Walter Clayton Jr., flew to Utah on Thursday, is getting ready to go. Ace Bailey did not, and there's been minimal contact with him and the team. Windhorst would later add that Danny Ainge, the Jazz CEO, will not acquiesce to Bailey. Eventually, Ace Bailey is going to be a Utah Jazz. We'll see how long it takes for him and his representation to figure that out. Avery Bradley's the Jazz VP of Player Development, told reporters, for me, my understanding is all of our draft picks are going to be here this weekend and preparing for Summer League. ESPN reported that Bailey's agent, Omar Cooper, informed one team drafting in the top 5 that Bailey would not report if that team chose him. It's not clear which that team was. So here's Wendy again. The question is Ace Bailey going to report, and what would happen if he didn't? There's not a crisis yet. What the Jazz are saying is he's not expected in Utah until the weekend, and really what he needs to do is be there by Monday when their training camp for Summer League starts. And if he's there, no problem. Hope his Jazz career gets off to a good start. If he's not, let's see what actions go from there. Don't need to read any more. But here's the problem. Even if he always intended to report to the Jazz, this is still a bad look, and does report to the Jazz this weekend. The fact that he looked bummed on Wednesday to be drafted by the Jazz, that these stories had already popped up kind of leading into the draft and then immediately after. And now there's been minimal contact between him, his representation, and the team, and they're not exactly sure when he's coming, when the other rookie, like most rookies do, fly to town in the next day or two, meet the media, hold the jersey, take the pictures with the general manager and the coach, and do it. It's already a bad look. I didn't really have an opinion on Ace Bailey before this, but my opinion probably forever now is one of, what are we doing? You're not Cooper Flagg. You're not LeBron James. I mean, just go down the list. And I know this has happened before. John Elway famously, didn't want to play for, I think it was the Colts.
Eli.
Threatened to play baseball. Eli is a perfect example of that. I don't love it. I don't like it. I think it's entitled. I think it's arrogant. I think it's a lack of self-awareness. If you want to play in the NBA, there's a draft. Those are the rules. That's how it's been set up. If you don't want to play in the NBA and you don't want to possibly play in Utah, then don't play in the NBA. Go play overseas. Don't take, I'm sure the rookie scale money is probably pretty good for a top 5 pick. Don't take it. But to do this kind of passive aggressive, he didn't want to work out for him and he might not report, and I'm going to tell a team in the top 5 that I'm not going to report. You're Ace Bailey, man. Like, even if you were the presumptive number 1 overall pick, like this came up with Paige Beckers when Dallas got the number 1 pick. And I don't even think it was coming from Paige. It was just people going, well, do you think Paige wants to go to Dallas? Maybe, maybe not. But if she wants to play in the WNBA, the Dallas Wings have the number 1 overall pick. If she's the number 1 pick, that's where she's going. Doesn't mean she has to be there forever, but that's where she's going. Those are the rules. It just sets a bad tone. And to me, it's just bad advice from whoever's advising him on this process, because this stuff does not leave you as you go through your career. The only way it leaves you is if you do become LeBron James or an all-timer, a no-brainer Hall of Famer that's going to help lead a team to a million different championships. And I haven't watched the all 10 of Rutgers film to watch Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey, but I know that he's not a surefire no-brainer. I know there's serious work that the basketball people say he needs to do on his game, and that would be what my focus would be let's get my basketball right. Let's go in there and prove myself. And then if I don't like Utah or whoever picks me, there's a thing called free agency at some point that you can set yourself up for. But this stuff, it just shows a lack of self-awareness, and unnecessarily, because there's other quotes here in the story from, let's see, who is this? I think it's Danny Ainge again. Said he's great. We were able to speak with him. He was super excited. We're super excited. We're expecting a very bright future. He also writes, we do a lot of background calls and work on guys, and everyone loves being around Ace. So that should be the focus, that story, that everybody loves being around him, that he's a hard worker, that he's apparently a good teammate. But when you do this stuff, and because Windhorst isn't just making it up, he's top 3 NBA reporter. He's super plugged in. If the Jazz aren't sure if he's coming or not, that's true. Lock that in. Especially if you're already going to go, because if you want to play, you have to at some point. Why go through all of this? And credit to the Jazz for just taking him and calling the bluff, if in fact it was the Jazz that he said he wouldn't report to in the top 5, and just saying, we have the 5th pick. We want a good player. We think you're a good player. And the way the rules work is you come play for us. Doesn't mean you have to play here forever, but for your rookie contract, that's who you're going to play for. I was reminded of this, and I actually don't even think I knew this, but Mark Spears, longtime NBA reporter, tweeted this out this afternoon. Ace Bailey's story reminds me about Steph Curry's father, an agent, asking the Warriors not to draft him in 2009 with the 7th pick so he could go to the Knicks with the next pick. Steph also did not work out for the Warriors. Undeterred, Warriors GM Larry Riley drafted Steph anyways. It's an interesting nugget, and I'll be honest, I never knew about that Warriors part of it, and it only makes me sadder because part of the knock, or part of the story on why David Kahn drafted Ricky Rubio and Johnny Flynn was that Steph didn't want to play here either, didn't want to work out here either. The same conversations were had in Minnesota as well as apparently were had in San Francisco, and David Kahn blinked. I don't know if he had him ranked higher than Johnny Flynn. I would like to hope so, because the Rubio pick you were going to pick no matter what. Rubio was the no-brainer pick at 5 when he fell there. If you go back to 2009, obviously it didn't turn out that way, but that's hindsight. Like, that was the story here, was that he didn't want to play here. That was part of it. Part of the reason why the Wolves didn't pick him. I never knew that the Warriors also had the same information, that we'd rather Hugh not pick him and let him get picked by New York at 8. And they said, no, we're going to pick you. They didn't blink. Wolves blinked. Added to the list because it's worked out pretty well for Steph in San Francisco. But this Ace Bailey stuff, it's like, who is advising you? Who are you listening to? Because be on the plane, get to Utah, and go. And we saw it multiple times throughout the draft. Guys were, you could tell, annoyed. Like the kid that went to Toronto, there's a lot of pictures of him. People were mad that he's there. It's like, guys, there's 30 teams. Okay? If you ascend to a place where you're a highly coveted free agent, you can go wherever you want to go. That's the beauty of the NBA. And the NBA, more than any other league, are once you get there and establish yourself, teams are put together on boats in the Bahamas in the summer when NBA players vacation together and go, should we play together? Yeah, let's figure out a way to make it happen. Like, no league has been friendlier in terms of player movement, but you got to get to the league first. You got to do something at the NBA first before you start calling the shots. That's what's disappointing about this whole thing. Couple of quick texts to the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line, getting back to our pickleball discussion before we pause and get to the top 5 at 5. 612, I wouldn't be able to stand that annoyance in my neighborhood for sure. We were on spring break in Clearwater, lucky. 2022 with the little ones, when it must have become in vogue, they turned the tennis courts into pickleball courts, 9th floor room, got woken up every morning at 7 a.m. to that sound. JG, why don't the powers that be develop a paddle that plays the same but lowers the noise? That from 651. That's what Johnny said they were working on, right? They're aware of the issue. And that's what I think was the most fascinating discovery about the conversation is a lot of pickleball players are self-aware about the nuisance and the noise and everything that goes into it, which I think is a good place to be. I think we're going to get to a good place for the pickle community at the end of this whole controversy. We got Lavelle at 5:30. What's coming up for top 5?
We'll talk about the Wolves draft pick and a new CBA in the NHL.
My name is Desiree, and I'm a first-generation college student.
I'm Zach. I'm undecided in my major, and I'm a catcher.
This message was sent to you.
$500 down the toilet along with your performance. You are worthless.
Get the hell off the field before you lose me any more money you saw in
This is wrong.
I'm more than a bet.
Stop harassing college athletes over a bet. Learn more at morethanabet.org.